Welcome to Root Source, Israeli Jews teaching Christians worldwide. Learn deeper, reach higher. I am Gidon Ariel, and today we are, with God's help, going to have an overview about Jewish prayer. We're going to be teaching a pretty long series about Jewish prayer. And since some aspects of Jewish prayer are different than Christian prayer, I think it's quite important that we do this overview. So, Jewish prayer, first of all, did not come to replace the sacrifices mentioned so much in the Bible, but it came to augment them. It is true that the temple in Jerusalem was the center of Jewish prayer and Jewish service to God. But even in the time of the temple, there were synagogues around Israel and even around the world. I'll leave that to you to do some internet research to find out when the first synagogues existed. But what we're going to do today is learn a little bit about the structure of Jewish prayer, specifically the morning prayer. We'll get to that in a moment. What we see here is a picture of, let me try to see this again. A second. What we see here are two Sidurim. Sorry about this. We see the Rinat Yisrael Siddur over here and the Art Scroll Siddur over here. These are two very popular prayer books in the world today. In Israel, the Rinat Yisrael prayer book. Rinat Yisrael means the Song of Israel. And the Art Scroll Siddur is popular amongst English-speaking Jews, and perhaps non-Jews as well. The idea being that, as we will see in a moment, hopefully we will be able to move this forward. What happens if we do this? Something? No. That seems to be all we have to do. This is an example of the Rinat Yisrael Siddur. Again, Siddur is the prayer book, also pronounced Siddur. This Rinat Yisrael book, as you can see, has no English in it. Under this line, it has some explanations of some words, but mostly this is like a professional prayer book. This is for people who have been praying for a long, long time and don't need too many explanations. These little letters that you can see over here are explanations when it's time to do what, time to stand up, to sit down, to talk quietly, to talk loud, that type of thing. And now as we go to the next page, easy enough. This is a sample page from the Art Scroll Siddur. The Art Scroll Siddur, published by the Sora Publications. The famous world famous Art Scroll Siddur was created and designed with people who do not know Hebrew too well in mind. Every word here is translated into English. You have the instructions both in Hebrew and in English. As I said, they're more than just short explanations of words, which are somewhat unnecessary because you have the translation. But down here you have explanations, elucidations, and other types of ideas that people can look into if they get a little bit bored just reading the actual prayers. So that is those are the two samples of the Sidurim, and now we will start learning a little bit more about prayer. So, first of all, it's important to note that prayer is a biblical command, according to Jewish tradition. What does that mean? There are biblical commands and there are rabbinic commands. All the rabbinic commands, as I often point out, are biblical commands in some way because the Bible commands us to listen to our religious leaders. So if a religious leader clarifies, or not a religious leader, but the religious leadership of Israel clarifies that a commandment there is a commandment, then that commandment achieves biblical levels because of the commandments to follow your leaders. You get that? So what is that? What do we mean over here? We don't really need so much of a biblical command for this to think that we have to pray. The reason that we have to pray is from this verse in Deuteronomy: you shall serve God with all your heart, with your whole heart. And the sages ask, what service is performed with the heart? We perform some services with our hands, some with our whole body, but with our heart, we pray. And that means that when the Bible commands us to serve God with our heart, in paraphrasing, we might say that the Bible is commanding us to pray. And when do we pray? According to Psalms 55, evening, morning, and noontime, I shall speak and moan, and he will hearken to my voice. God listens to us all the time, 24/7. But specifically, the way that the verse is talking about over here, evening, morning, and noontime, as you know, and it was evening and it was morning according to Jewish tradition. The world was created starting in the evening and only afterwards in the morning, and finally at noontime. And those are the three times that traditional Jews pray the main prayers. We pray all day long. You eat an apple, you pray. You hear some good news, you pray. You go on your way to a trip, you pray. But in the morning you pray, in the evening you pray, and in the afternoon you pray, no matter what. All right? And in another verse from the book of Daniel, when he knew that a prohibitive law had been inscribed, which means that the law prohibited praying, that is exactly when Daniel came to his house and prayed, where there were open windows in his upper chamber opposite Jerusalem. These are two other aspects of the laws of prayer. One should only pray in a room that has windows, and also one should pray towards Jerusalem. Those are two rules that were learned from this verse in Daniel. 3 times a day he kneeled on his knees and prayed and offered thanks before his God as he had done prior to this. So we see that the tradition of praying 3 times a day is well known even at the time of Daniel. Okay, this is starting to work. Let's go now and quickly go over our prayer structure of the morning prayer. The main prayer, which takes about 45 minutes every morning. That's right. Traditional Jews get up about 45 minutes earlier than their friends. And all prayer, especially the main prayer, which we will discuss in a moment, talks about praise of God, requests of God, and thanks to God. That's the 3 best ways that you can humble yourself before one who is greater than you. You praise them, you give thanks for what you've already got, and you humbly make a request. And that is what we do with our prayer. Another thing that somebody pointed out to me is that there is another very important prayer, and that is simply talking to God. God exists, God hears us, and God is the one that we can always be truthful with and open with. So this has been an introduction to Jewish prayer. Hope you've enjoyed it. My name is Gidon Ariel for Root Source, and I'll see you next week.